Why we are aiming to Geneva is because Geneva has all the assets to make it happen. I was in the UN for 15 years in Geneva, where I was running as an expert, the technical backbone of the UN. We have been working with the web, with Tim Berners-Lee, and Geneva has all the major implementations and success stories of the internet actually happening in this city. We even have telecom. I don't know if you guys remember telecom in the year 2000 when the entire telecom industry was coming to Geneva on a yearly basis in Palexpo to show how Geneva will become a center of gravity on what we call now the internet too. So just to maybe position WiseKey for the people that don't know WiseKey. So I founded WiseKey in 1999 as a startup. So we were one of the first .com startups. The company has evolved over the years. I am just proud to announce that WiseKey entered into the NASDAQ. So we are the second company after Logitech in the history of Switzerland to enter into the NASDAQ. We are listed on the NASDAQ. That happened the 4th of December last year. And now WiseKey is what I call we are in the Olympic Games of the next generation internet. We have been working very focused on three areas, which are identity management. WiseKey created in 1999 the first cryptographic root key, which is, by the way, is supervised by a Swiss foundation with the name OISTE, Organisation Internationale de la Sécurité des Transactions Électroniques. And OISTE is like a watchdog on this cryptographic root key that now has been installed in something like 4 billion devices. The cryptographic root key in the year 2000 was launched with ITU, the International Telecommunication Union, which is the standard body for X509. And at that time, we brought to Geneva in what we call WiseWorld 2000. We brought to Geneva 150 countries, represented at the ministerial level, just to explain that in the future of the world, cryptographic root keys cannot be owned and operated by private companies, because that creates dependency, and that creates an environment where nations of the world will have a massive risk to allocate their trust model to a private company. On the basis of that, the WiseKey evolved. We become also a manufacturer of microprocessors, chips. So WiseKey has now an install base of 1.6 billion microprocessors. So we are powering drones, connected cars, smart cities, traffic lights. They are now being powered with the WiseKey Volta IC. All this is available in our stand if you want to visit. And those microprocessors, we are injecting a key, which comes from the cryptographic root key that WiseKey has created. So that means that every single object has its own personalized key, and that key connects to a blockchain ledger to decentralize the access of identity. In terms of the identity of people, the cryptographic root key of WiseKey has generated something like 2 billion identities, and I'm going to show you later in this is the ecosystem. So 3.6 billion routers. This is happening every day. Is a massive amount of new hardware that gets certified by the cryptographic root key of WiseKey. We have Cisco routers using it. We have laptops, mobile phones, connected cars. We have now 1.6 billion mobile OS, and they are hosting WiseKey. We just signed a partnership agreement with the largest Chinese browser, 360, which for first time ever use a cryptographic root key, which is not a Chinese root key. So now WiseKey cryptographic root key has been downloaded 700 million times in China, making one of the dominant download on that. And then we have the certification of email. 250 million emails are being security signed and security certified by WiseKey. What Don just mentioned before, and I had an amazing honor to meet him. He was my mentor when I was still in the UN, when I read for first time the digital economy. And when we met in Davos, I explained to him the importance to look Geneva in a special way, due the ecosystem and due the fact that Geneva can truly aspire to be this Internet 2 hub of the world, because we have here all the major trust delegations in the world. We have WIPO dealing with intellectual property. We have WHO dealing with health. We have WCO dealing with commerce. We have IATA dealing with the airline industry. By the way, we're going to have different panels later in the afternoon, which are going to be moderating with these parties. And these organizations, they are recognized as the TTP, the third trusted party organizations in the world. So what about to bring them together to work with the Geneva government, to work with WiseKey BRI in a collaborative blockchain center of excellency. So we are very happy. You hear this morning from Mr. Moreira that the Geneva government has endorsed this project, and this project is now expanding with the help of Mr. Wang Wei, which we'll say a few words later, to China, as China through the endorsement and support of the government and President Xi, it's now becoming one of the largest blockchain countries in the world. So Geneva, we are hoping to convert Geneva. What we already did in the 1863, Geneva created a Red Cross, and what it was the Red Cross was in case of conflict or war, soldiers could be retrieved from the battlefield and be taken care without people shooting the people, then they will take them out. We need a Red Cross on the internet, a Red Cross that will protect citizens, that will protect consumers, and they will have some kind of extraterritoriality reach. So in case of abuses of consumers, of abuses of citizens, we could go and save them and protect them without any further interference. So the activities of the Blockchain Center of Excellency, which is already operational, is operational. The World Trade Center 2 in Geneva. You can come in and visit. We can cooperate. It's an endeavor that is not a commercial endeavor. The idea is to bring all the best experience. By the way, on the booth, you will see few companies already working with us, like We Can, where we establish collaborative agreements with them. There is an amazing team here of young people in Geneva developing blockchain applications. We just last week in Korea, we brought many other companies, and they are adding to that ecosystem. And this is an area of specialization now is IoT, because this is where WISeKey is becoming very big and very fast. Is digital brand protection, which is going to be covered also during a panel with PMI a few minutes ago. It is the mobile security and ethical AI. And this, by the way, ethical AI will be covered in an event that we're organizing in Davos in 2 days, Wednesday, where you guys, many of you are participating, where we're going to be discussing the need of supervising the code. As we supervise the cryptographic root key of WISeKey, we need to supervise codes. Then they are being thrown into the industry, and we don't know if those codes have bias or not. So the supervision and the analysis of those codes are going to be also done through the Blockchain Center of Excellency. So as I say, those are concrete members, and they have developed application with us, Oracle, We Can, OurChain. Those are available. I'm not going to spend too much time. It's nearly lunchtime. But just to give you an idea, then this is already in progress. This is only in 1 year. So from announcing last year our intention to create a blockchain center of excellency, now we can announce concrete projects that they are being executed. And this is going to be distributed in a global network of blockchain centers of excellencies that they have been built in China with the help of One Way, but also in Latin America, in the United States, in many in Africa. And again, the idea of those blockchain center of excellency is to become a laboratory, a entry level in any city of the world, and they want to learn something about blockchain, and they want to see what the other countries are doing with blockchain. They will go to the blockchain center of excellency, and they will find the same standards, the same applications that any other city of the world will be doing. And all that will coincide into the Geneva hub, and through the Geneva hub, we will also integrate into major places like the international organizations. So just again, we are very late, so I'm not going to cover that. We will cover that into the panel, but those are already big companies, and they are working with us, integrating blockchain into identity management. The thing WISeKey brings in a very clear way is that blockchain requires trust model, cryptographic trust model. And the decentralized architecture of the blockchain is good enough for some application, but it's not good enough on applications where you need to decentralize the trust model from a vertical process. Let's say a government that wants to issue identities for their citizens so they are able to vote. The vote part can be done at the ledger level, but the identity delegation needs to be done in a different way, because obviously you cannot just create your identity yourself. You need an attribute party that will attribute to you the right to own that identity. So those are the areas that we are covering, and those areas are becoming now case studies that allow us to come into a very concrete model. Just to finalize, because I have a continuation now in a few minutes and I don't want to take your lunch time, we are just launching the Trust Protocol Association. So this association is a Geneva-based association. which is the framework association for the blockchain centers of excellency. And this association, what it does is allows us basically to have a legal framework on where blockchain center of excellencies will be adding to the work we are doing. They will be building nodes, so we are building nodes at national level, the same way that Libra has his own node. Our nodes will not be based on cryptocurrency allocation node, it will be based on trust. So if you are in China, you want to develop a China blockchain project, but that requires a cryptographic root key to digitally sign the ledger, they will be part of the association. So because it's very late, my presentation was much longer. I'm not going to bother you with that. We will have panels later, then I will be covering the subjects in particular with other panelists. What I would like now is to bring to the panel Mr. Wang Wei from China. He came last year and again this year with a delegation of 50 speakers and investors in blockchain, which are coming to Davos. And we managed to ask him to stop over in Geneva. And Wang Wei will make this introduction of the concept, and Don just explained before my presentation what we call the trust triangle. So I give the floor to Don Wei. If you can come in just to say a few words to the audience. We only have 5 minutes because then we're going to have a panel with Mr. Alvis, PMI, on illicit trade. Don Wei.
Oh, thank you. Give me the worst time before lunch. Anyway, I'm delighted to be here with all the Chinese delegation. Actually, I'm first show my high gratitude to Carlos, Don, and Eurowesky team. We are here second time. Actually, we think Davos, here, Geneva, the mid conference is more important than Davos. We'll be there later. So I think that's why we discussed last year about the Triangle Trust City with Don, Geneva, Beijing, and Toronto set up at the first group. And then we welcome other cities join with us. I think we'll cover later afternoon. And I think a lot of people concerned about China last year, what happened. I think the 3 things very influential in China. Number 1 is China-American the trade war. We just signed the trade, the first phrase agreement. That means we still work together for the globalization. And China reform, open, still keep on. And China and American have been very strong in the fintech and blockchain business. So that means the 2 power countries still work together. That's good news. And the second thing is, I think the labor things. A lot of people talk about that. The labor things speed up China Central Bank to open their program for digital currency. That will inspire a lot of cryptocurrency happening in China. So we wait to see in next year. And the third thing is China's chairman, Xi Jinping, has endorsed the AI blockchain business. This will bring another high moment this year. So that's why we bring the Chinese delegation. I think we this year we had 20 or almost 30 delegation. They come over from China for over 10 cities. We are leading by China Blockchain Application Center, which set up 4 years ago. Now we had over 1,000 individual member, over 50 institution directors. So let's, I think I would call those people stand up. So give the people chance to work together. Like, could you stand up with China somewhere? I don't know. Yes, all this team. Yes. Okay. I also, why I asked them stand up, I think so we had a whole afternoon, tomorrow we can communicate each other. And those guys has been, we just make small statistical analysis. So they representing over 7 or 8 listing company on blockchain in China, in Hong Kong, United States. So I bring 3 people come up. Ms. Deng Di, she's the chairman delegations, and Mr. Zhang Shoushong come up, and Mr. Han. Could you come up there? So I make those plans stand there. So I hope encourage you, contact with them, maybe take some picture with them. Future, they are probably Jack Ma, in a way. So just introduce. Thank you very much. A few moments.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. So, as I said before, this is a unique opportunity for Geneva because not only OneWay can mobilize 100 cities in China to become nodes, they are also very present in the World Economic Forum, Tianjin, and Dalian. As you know, every year the World Economic Forum organizes the new champions event in China. And China and Switzerland, we have a free trade agreement between both countries, and we have to use it. So there's a lot of business opportunity for Swiss companies into China, in particular if you are dealing with the integration of blockchain into concrete applications that can further improve and boost the Chinese economy and at the same time the Swiss economy.